Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing super fantastic. I'm still a smidge under the weather, but that's okay. I'm good. Anywho, so I was. Oh, jeez. Okay. I was watching this debate between these. One guy was an atheist. Okay. Another guy was a big Christian guy. Okay. Another guy was a Satanist. Fine. And then they would have someone else call in and, whatever. And it's almost like all these religionist people, and I include the atheists with that, because they're usually the most religion esque of them all, because they are so hardcore, steadfast in their beliefs, and then just like a classical religionist or whatever, they're so that they really want to convince you to see things their way. But and to me, that's just kind of like that's not what an atheist would even. I mean, they should be like, oh yeah, whatever. But whatever. I'm not an atheist, so I guess I shouldn't try to speak for them or try to figure them out. But anyway, so the conversation was talking about the creation of the universe, and well, I made some notes, of course. So it was really the debate was really over whether or not is God real. I'm like, well, define God, right? I mean, do you mean the creator? Do you mean the source? Do you mean the original consciousness? Or what do you mean? But I mean, okay, fine. We'll go with all of the above just to keep this simple. So one guy said that the universe could not have been created. I'm like, well, why not? And his reasoning behind that is because the universe could not have been created because I'm trying to put this together and make sure that it's understandable. But in that, because in order for the universe to have been created, that means someone would have had to have, that whoever the creator is, had to have existed somewhere before the universe was created. All right, you're very good. Excellent. I'm down with that. However, and then what was the other side of that? Oh, and the other side of that is, well, it's either that or the universe has always existed, meaning it never began. Or, oh, well, you get the conundrum there. The conundrum is if it was created, then it must have been created at some point in time. Of course, that's us thinking in a very 3D and linear way, right? Oh, by the way, loved ones, please like this video if you wouldn't mind, and share and subscribe and all that. Although I got a feeling this video is probably not going to be viewed much. But this is one of those where I really just kind of want to get my thoughts out there, right? I mean, one thing you can say about me, if nothing else, I'm very authentic. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Well, I mean, it is a good thing to be authentic. But it's like, yeah, Matt, sometimes you're a little too authentic. Maybe you need to work on your presentation a little bit. All right, fine. Maybe you're right. That's fair enough. But anyway, so getting back to this. So this guy says that the universe couldn't have been created because that would imply that there was a creator that existed before the universe did. And then it's like, well, where did that guy exist? Right? Fair enough. Fair question. It's like, well, okay. Then wherever that guy existed, there's your universe. So how long has it been around? And then you might be like, well, it's always been here. And then there's also the theory that's kind of getting pushed around a little bit, where it is cyclical. I mean, I'm like, I can go with that because I do know that everything is cyclical. I know that everything, and I do mean everything, is cyclical. So the thing behind that is okay, so the universe has the Big Bang or whatever, and everything expands and just everything that happens in the universe over the course of however many billions of years. And eventually it contracts. It eventually it implodes back in on itself. And then it, boom, explodes again, starting the cycle all over. And that this is just boom, bam, explode, implode, explode, implode, over and over for whatever, forever, literally forever. And forever is something that we, in this construct, in this realm, with these 3D linear thinking minds, cannot comprehend. But there is the other option. The other option is that there is no universe. Not really. The other option is that it does not exist, and it never has. The other option is that there is only mind. There is only one mind, and that is what we would call God. That is what we would call the creator or the source. Pick your title. But the other option, see, these guys are all trying to figure out where the universe came from, and has it always been here? Has it been created? Is it cyclical? Is it this? Is it that? Or blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what about this option? The universe has never existed outside of it, in other words. Now, we, like in the Kybalion, it tells us to be very careful. Don't don't fall into the traps of the half-wise. The half-wise are those who know these things, who know that all is mind, but they don't take it seriously. They don't treat it. It's like, okay, they don't treat this incarnation. They don't treat this lifetime inside this 3D realm as serious. They don't take it seriously because it's like, I know none of this is real anyway, so screw it. That would be the half-wise. We do understand. We understand that, or at least a lot of us do. We understand that, but we still respect the fact that we are in this, that the Creator, in its infinite mind, has imagined all of what we would call creation. But it is nonetheless still in its imagination, in its mind. So when we think of creation, when we think of incarnation, when we think of physicality, when we think of materialism, we're thinking of the things that we can touch. We're thinking of the things that can be explained or be measured, or be it with time or space or distance or whatever. But really, all of that is built into the imagined creation. So it's like, well, so all of this exists in mind. Well, where does the mind exist? And see, that's where we get a little mind blown. That's where we kind of, you hear the tires screeching and all that. What? It's like nothing really exists except mind, except in the mind of the Creator. Now, are there layers? I got to believe there's millions of layers of reality. I got to believe there's millions of layers of everything. And if you really want to get into that, I would recommend You got to start with Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Itzhak Bentov. But the sequel is by Itzhak Bentov. It's A Brief Tour of Higher Consciousness. And that is a cosmic book on the mechanics of creation. However, it is a sequel to this. And let me tell you, Stalking the Wild Pendulum is not an easy book to read. Woo! That book, very, very interesting. But man, to try to really get the concept of it, I don't know. So anyway, loved ones, I just was listening to these guys debate. And I'm like, that's not the only options. There is, and I guess on this layer of it, fine. Meaning, when we are on this layer, this linear 3D point of view. And I understand one guy was a physicist or whatever he was, and his, they got to be able to test it, and they got to be able to prove it. They got to be able to, all of those things. See, I can't prove that all is mind. I can't prove that nothing exists outside of the mind of the Creator. But I know that that's true. How do you know that's true? I just do. Because when you really think about it, when you really dig out down into it, and you really think about, okay, what is matter? What is consciousness? What is everything? The observer, being the observer. Nothing exists unless it's observed. Or it's besides, if it's not being observed, then it is a possibility. The Double Slit Experiment proves that. And if you're not familiar with the Double Slit Experiment, look that one up. You can find little 10 to 15 minute videos explaining it on YouTube. Blow your mind. But the Double Slit Experiment proves that if it's not being observed, then it doesn't really collapse to a physical, material item. It's just a wave. It's a possibility. It could be this, it could be that, it could be here, it could be there. It's possible. Probable, maybe. Anyway, loved ones, I just wanted to kind of get into that because that is something that is very complicated. It's very complex because it's like, well, how do I know that everything is really there? Is there really a there? I mean, if it hasn't been observed, then you don't know. So, actually, that's not true because actually you do know because Double Slit Experiment shows us, well, if it has never been observed, then it may be there. If we went and looked at it, it would be there. But until somebody goes and looks at it, well, and see, there is a conundrum in itself. But that is also proven when we look out into space with these high-powered telescopes and all of that stuff. The further we look, the more we see. It's like, well, duh, man, of course. You know what I mean. Because we don't know what's there. We don't know. We just don't know. But the more we look, the more we find. Was it there before we looked? Well, once we've seen it, we got to assume it has been there all along. Okay. But until somebody observes it, you either get what I'm saying or you don't, really. But the other option of all of this argument, whether or not the universe actually was created by someone or if it's always been here or what, consciousness is fundamental, meaning consciousness is the baseline. Consciousness had to occur before anything else. And then it had its aha moment and started creating, right? Heart started creating everything. And it's infinite and unbelievable imagination. And yes, we exist in that mind. And that's not a scary concept, by the way. But anyway, I don't even know if I'm going to release this video, but I probably will. And yeah, please like and subscribe and share and give me some comments. I mean, I would really like to know what you, dear loved one, think of this. Really. But for now, that's what I got. And I do love you. And I'll be back directly.